Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Delusional's Arcade. So in this episode, we're actually going to go over a monitor. I was actually working on this offline, and then I decided, let me roll the camera because it is a K4600 and there's a flyback on it that needs to be swapped. Now these hardly have any issues with the flybacks, they're usually pretty sturdy, but in this case, I guess it had a crack in it and it arced. And I discovered after I capped it, of course, I capped it, reflowed everything, changed the B+, did everything. I realized that this here, when I was putting it back together, I hadn't inspected it, and I saw that it was cracked and it also had a hole in it. So we're gonna go ahead, jump into this video. I'm just gonna swap it out. Unfortunately, they don't make these anymore, so we're gonna have to kind of get it from another one that doesn't work, so I'm gonna cannibalize it. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and just jump right into the video. Okay guys, so we're back. So this monitor here is actually from a Galaxian. I actually made a deal with the guy for a future game that I'm going to reveal in a future episode in Arcade Hunting, where I paid him money in addition to giving him services like fixing his monitor. So at first I thought, it's an okay deal. I took the monitor out, I went home, I capped it, I redid everything, I gave it a complete overhaul. I really don't like working on these monitors, the K4600s, but they are really rock solid once you get them working. So the fuse had blown and a couple other things, so I replaced the fuse. It's actually one of those fuses that you have to solder onto the board. And then in addition to that, when I was putting everything back, I realized the flyback was bad. And these things, when I first got the machine and I first got the monitor, it didn't power up because the fuse was out, so I ended up rebuilding it and I'm putting it back together, and I realized this thing has a hole in it. There's a crack in it. I'm going to show you that, so let's go ahead and get a more close-up view here where I can show you the crack and exactly what happened when it started arcing. Okay guys, so we're here by the monitor and you can see that everything looks pretty clean. I'm actually going to show you right here. This is where I capped the monitor. I actually changed the B+ out just to be safe. You don't have to, but the fact that it was not powering on at all after I even put a new fuse in, signaled to me that other things are going on. So I changed the B+, made sure I reflowed everything, looked for broken traces. This whole board I reworked is the power board here that comes out. I put a new transistor on there, and I also did the other side over here where I put the new hot in and just redid the whole entire thing. There were a couple of, I think, resistors I changed as well. I checked the diodes, they were all good. I removed them from the circuit and tested them. So for the most part, I was about to power it on. I put the thing in and I'm putting it all together, and then I realized that this right here is done. And I'll show you right now. You guys are probably curious on why I'm doing this, but here, I'll turn on another light here so you can see. But basically, if you look right along the edge here, I'm going to turn it around. There we go. Let me zoom in a little bit. And I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but it actually explains a lot. What probably happened to the guy was that there was a crack here. You can see that crack right there. And that crack probably arced when he turned it on, at some point in the cocktail, and just blew a hole right into it and melted. This is all melted stuff. At first I thought it was all epoxy, but no, that's melted stuff right there. So this is totally discharged, by the way. So that's it right there. You can see I could even put my thing right inside it. So that's not worth, cutting this off and making it, putting some epoxy on there. Sometimes if it has a crack, you can put epoxy on there and kind of save it. Especially with these, because you can't really find these anymore, the K4600s. There's a lot of parts in here that are obsolete that they don't make anymore. I think Peter at Arcade Parts and Repair is working on, in the future, hopefully, this right here. This is the horizontal width coil that always breaks. So if you ever work on these monitors, do not take it out. Just desolder these 2 points right here and just leave that thing alone, because if this thing cracks, it's very brittle, it'll break right off. Don't even adjust it. I would just leave it. I would not touch it at all. So anyway, so that thing right there just blasted a hole right in it. So what probably happened is that there was a crack here over time, it just cracks because of the heat, arced, and then basically that created a short which popped the fuse on the actual, on the chassis there. So hopefully we can get this swapped out. So I decided to kind of document this, because as I understand it, when I was searching, because I was like, oh, I'll just order a new one. They don't make them anymore. So I do have a couple monitors that are K4600s that are kind of non-working at the moment, and I'm just trying to, I was going to actually take the two and make one that works, but now what I'm going to do is, since I know this pretty much worked fine before that blew, I'm just going to swap this out from one of my other spares that I have. And then, you know, when I do get that other K4600 working, I can get one out of those two, except minus the flyback. But yeah, this one is totally toast. So because I rebuilt everything again, I'm just going to take it from another one and put it in there. So let me grab my other chassis. I'm going to kind of put it on here and we can kind of see the difference. I'm going to take it apart. There's really not much wiring going on. This thing is kind of independent from the neck board. We may have to just desolder like this one wire right here, but the rest all comes out. You can see the plugs come with it. So when I do get rid of this, I'm probably going to cut these off and save this and label it something, you know, maybe K4600, you know, flyback wires maybe, because, you know, they are kind of rare. And also the cup, I don't think I can even use. I'm going to throw that out with the flyback, but these wires here in this connector I might be able to use. So why not, you know, because they don't make these parts anymore, unfortunately. So, all right, let me cut to the other one. I'm going to put it on there on the bench and we'll kind of take it out and transplant it into this chassis right here. Okay, so we're back. And the first thing I'm going to do, I mean, this monitor here has been sitting on my shelf for months. I mean, months, maybe even a year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and discharge it. Why not? You know, it doesn't matter how long something's been sitting down. It takes an extra second. You know, when you get bit, you're not going to want to, you know, chance it. You might as well just quickly, it takes a second. You got to use a screwdriver to get underneath to take this off anyway to get the flyback. So it takes an extra second. Nothing is happening, so it's good. Most likely it's probably dead, you know, where it doesn't have any juice in it at all. But, you know, can't be too safe. In addition, you want to also, if you're working on the chassis, you want to discharge the cap. When I was in Virginia this past weekend, you know, we turned it on, nothing happened, it wasn't getting any power, no neck glow, so that thing was still charged. So what ended up happening was he turned it over, and I said, you know what, let me discharge the capacitor. I grounded it, touched it, there was a big pop, it sounded like a firecracker, it was super loud, and it really startled my buddy, where he was like, holy crap, you know, out loud. So, you know, can't be too careful with these things. This is high voltage and they are dangerous. So I just want to say that before we start. But this one now, we just confirmed it's dead. There's nothing going on. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I'll turn it around. Maybe this way. This is a different frame. The other one is actually, this flyback is located on the bottom because it's more flat for the cocktail. It doesn't have these sides. So I'm going to go ahead, let me grab my screwdriver here. I have like an extra long bit. And the reason I have this long bit is because it's really hard to get in this frame. There's one screw right here that you can't get to unless you do this. We don't have to take the chassis off, but I'm just kind of explaining why you need a really long one. The other chassis actually doesn't have this side, so it's easy to get to. So hopefully, I'm going to try to get to this. Let's see if I can do it through here. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, I definitely need this. Right now, it's too long. So this chassis in general is very problematic. You know, it's no secret I don't like these chassis. The K4600 monitors, to me, you know, they were well intended when they were first designed, but not anymore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab a smaller driver. Yeah, this thing is not cooperating. Let me try just a regular screwdriver. Maybe that'll work. Yep. It's always the simplest things here. All right, so we got this out. And I guess it's secured also on the bottom. Yep, I see it there. I'm gonna get underneath here. By the way, guys, my microphone, I apologize if it sounds bad, but it should sound all right. But my wireless kit, the mic on it, started crackling a lot. I noticed in the last videos, so I took a look at it. Turns out it's under warranty, so I sent it out to Rode. That's the brand I used, and it's being RMA'd at the moment. So I'm using my spare mic. It's just not as good of a brand, but I am using the wireless kits from Rode, so they still work just fine. It's just the mic itself. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just take these out. And it's right here. And then that's the soldered right to the, so this shouldn't be affected at all. The only thing that I have to take off is, you actually have to remove this here. Seems a little, I guess it's fine. But yeah, I have to take this off and take it out. So let me heat up my soldering iron, because I don't want to destroy this at all. This could still be good. And I can just take the other flyback from the other monitor, because I have another spare K4600 that doesn't work, and it has to be rebuilt. So let me see, what do I need here? I need this little screwdriver. So I'm just going to take the little tabs out. Let me see if I can tilt down for you guys. You can see what I'm doing here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Right there, that looks good. All right. So let's see here. So I'm just taking a screwdriver, you kind of stick it in this little thing right there. You can pop it open, slide it out. There's one side. Let me take the other one. Let me take this out, by the way. This is actually part of this part here, so you're not going to use it at all. And this here can come out, just to get it free and out of the way. All right, so now, and by the way, this capacitor, I actually have it where you can replace it, and then you have to just wrap it in electrical tape. I didn't do that on his. I should have, maybe I should change it out. But anyway, let me push this out. Kind of unhook both of these here. There we go. So once you do that, this part here just kind of slides right out. I'm trying to get an angle here where you can see it. And now you can unsolder this pin here. So I have my, I'm not using my desolderer, I'm just heating this up here with my regular soldering iron. And I'm just going to pull on it and kind of get it to come out here. Come on. You know what? I am going to get my desoldering iron. It'll suck all that right out and it'll come right out. So you just got to be careful, because this is connected there at the same time. So you got to be careful not to, you know, have this come out. But when you do a cap kit, you definitely want to change this capacitor right here. That goes right to it. This one's actually rated a little better, so it makes it have a better picture. And Arcade Parts and Repair has it. I swear by that guy, because he has all the parts. To me, he's the most knowledgeable as well, where he'll get back to you and help you out. So now I'm just gonna get this in there. Come on. Still not hot enough. There we go. Wow, I really twisted that on when I put it on. There we go, I think that's most of it. So now I just gotta work out, it's all tangled here. And let's see if I can get a little bit more off here. There we go. So it's just a little tangled because I have this other capacitor mixed in there. Don't worry, I won't neck it. You guys are like, don't neck it. I know you're thinking that. I'm not going to. All right, so this one is out. Come on. It's like a loop. I'm feeding it through here. All right, so this one is out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just straighten it out a little bit. There you go. All right, so there's that. And this one should come right out. There we go. All right, so that's intact. This is off. We're going to need this. So now I can actually put this back. I'm going to leave that off there because I do have to put it back. I know where it goes. And the other thing I want to do is plug these other wires. I can get them out here. I have to actually take this out here. Just taking off these zip ties because way less confusing. So there's this. And I have to unscrew this from the chassis right there. So, put my extension back on. There it is. This is actually in a different part. It's connected to a different part. I think it's down here on the new chassis. Anyway, let me just put this back on. All right. So we want to get this thing free. It's almost done, not quite. There's the cup. You have some wires that are mixed in here. Let me see, is that part of it? Yeah, I guess this is part of it. So the other thing we got to do is just take this out right over here. So I'm going to reach in and grab the connector. This one is a pain to take out, let me tell you. No, it's not coming out. Let me try doing it with my hands here. I might be blocking it. There we go. All right, so that's out. And let me kind of go over here again, move around, and we're really just looking at this here. So we have this part, everything's free. I just took that piece out, so you have the whole thing. So this is it. Let me zoom out. That's the whole thing, all the connectors. And we're going to take this, kind of transplant it to the other one. See, this one's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So I'm just going to take it and put it in there. I might clean it up first. It's really dirty with simple green. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to go ahead, have the other chassis here, and we're going to take the other one out and put this one in. Okay, so we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. This is the one that's really bad. What I'm going to do, I think, too, is I'm going to clean it up so I can show you what's wrong with it. Like, you know, we already had the close-up, but yeah, I can really inspect it once it's out. So I put the other one back together with the screws. You know, I just put the screws on the chassis so I won't lose them. But, you know, hopefully we'll get a replacement. Maybe I'll hit up Buffett when I go see him, where I can get a new one. But yeah, that's definitely, look at that. Wow, you can really see it. Here, I'm going to clean it up so you guys can really check out what's going on here. But so yeah, so look at that. Cooked right through it. So it looks like there was a crack right here and it just arced and just cooked that right there and just tore right through it, and that's what popped the fuse. But if you guys are curious as to what happened, that's it. Maybe I'll get a screenshot of this and show people on Cloud that they do go bad every now and then. It's pretty much melted. And as far as the other one that I had, I'm going to kind of compare them here just to make sure. So this one is the, yeah, it says lot number 0622. This is 0Y07. Good, it's a different lot. I didn't want it to be the same. but it's MSH D501, so it's the same model number, so that's good. And then 2009 830073. So they match, same brand, made in Japan. Looks like Murata, Murata. So that's it. It all pretty much looks the same. I'm looking at the top, making sure everything's on there, everything's soldered like it should be. Got the ground wire going there, touching the bottom as well. And then I turned on the flyback a hair because I don't want to switch it to this new one and it's turned up too much. So, all right, so let's continue taking this out. I've already disconnected this wire right here, which goes to the chassis, and then this other one here that goes to the neck board. Same connectors, so we're good to go. Ground wire is also done. The only thing I have to do here now is on the neck board. I got to take out this pin here. So I'm going to take this off, and then again, this one I should swap it out while I'm at it. Why don't I go ahead and do that? I know I have this part. So I'm going to go ahead and let me take this out first. So I usually just stick a screwdriver in here and push at the same time, just to get one side off, and then I'll push on the other one too. There we go. Came right out. Just work it way out. So I'm going to just pull this out here, put that on the side, and I got to desolder that. So yeah, let me go ahead before I do this. Let me peel this back and I'll show you what's behind here, but I'm going to go ahead and swap this out because I have a better one that's in there, and this has been here since the dawn of time. So it's definitely old. So yeah, so again, I was rebuilding this. I said, let me do it offline, and then this came up. So yeah, see, here's the original one. I have one of these somewhere. I have to check. Okay guys, so I'm back. It turns out I did not find it. I don't know where I put it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this one in here. This is the, the one that I had to replace. You could see because I taped it up. You're supposed to tape it up because I think it's rated up to 125 degrees Celsius, but you tape it up just like it was because it helps protect it from the heat a little bit, in addition to the heavy duty cap that it is. There we go. Yep, that's on there. Let me just make sure it's on the other side. All right, that's good. I'm going to snip off the little end here. Okay. And then I'll tape that up in a minute. And then the other end we're going to put right here. Just going to put it on first, like that. And then I think I'm going to twist it with some pliers that I had. Not sure what I do. Oh, here they go. So I'm actually doing squeeze those together. All right, and then the flyback wire is, well, let's screw this in first. So it's going to go this way, obviously, because you need to be able to adjust it. So let me go ahead and pop that in there. First, you put this screw in. Should be able to slide on there. Yep. And this one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it in. All right. Cool. All right, so we got to just solder that onto here. So this goes obviously to here, nice and snug. And we just got to do that side. We already soldered one side. We'll put that in there with this flyback wire right here. Kind of twist it together. Get this out of the way. There we go. So it's through, and I just need to lift it up with something. I'll try with this screwdriver. I'm just going to turn it, curve it on there, so that when I solder it, it's all together. That'll work right there. Just putting a big blob on there. Holding it and letting go. See how that did? You don't want it rattling around on there. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep, it's on there, so I have this plus that on there, and then I can put the wire through like that. And then we get to put this right over it like this. And you want to kind of slide it on there each side, and then lift up here so it goes above that lip. There we go. All right, nice and snug. That's in there. It has the tape. Kind of move this to the side here so it's not in the way of the neck. And I did solder that onto here, so that's good to go. I'm going to pop this on there. It actually goes on this way here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. So all I did was I popped the neck on right there. So I got to get a zip tie here, so let me go ahead and get that. All right, I just grabbed another zip tie. I'm going to put it right here in the missing spot. There's only 3 on this one. Some only have 2. So you just kind of just put it on there. Reason for that cardboard is just it's not necessary, but if you're ever inside a monitor, inside a game and it's on and you brush against it like this, it's going to give you a little zap. Nothing, just make your hair go up a little bit, but hurts a little bit. It's not going to kill you. But when that's on there, you work on stuff, the monitor is upside down or whatever it is, you're not brushing against it when it's on by mistake and you don't hit it. Little safety. I made a whole bunch of these actually. I copied a template from one and I made like about, 15 of them. So there it is. So that's on there. This is in here. I'm going to make sure the grounding strap on this one, on the other monitor, it was right here. I think it was right here where it was put on, which I'm actually going to put it back there. Shouldn't really matter. It was over here on this monitor. But I'm going to put it over here because on this one over there, it's actually a piece of plastic that's supposed to go there. So we'll ground it. And let me just change the bit here. There we go. So that's on there. It's kind of out of the way. And then you have this plug, which goes to the neck, which I'm going to kind of take out here. Feed this through so it's not tangled. This is solder. Okay. That goes on the neck board, I believe on the bottom here. Yep, it's right there. And then there's another one on here that I can't find at the moment. Let me take this off just to remember where it is. Pretty sure, yeah, this is it right here. So I'm going to detangle this a little bit. Get it all going. So this goes on here. I believe it's keyed, so it goes this way. And I reflowed everything there, so. And then this, I believe, goes on here. It's also keyed. Get it out of the way. Goes on this little interface board here. And then this, it's all color labeled. Somebody actually put it in marker. I think that's pretty cool. But the green goes here. Red goes here. Right next to it. Come on, you can get in there. There we go. and then blue, and then yellow. So yeah, it's a little unique, a little weird working on this monitor, but you know, you guys can do it. If I can do it, it's fine. So that's all in there. Usually you need to take these off in order to cap it. So I'm just kind of putting it all together in front of you guys so you can see. So everything's in here. This is really important. Don't ever forget this. That's on there. The ground wire to the chassis. Just make sure this doesn't come out because that can come out. It's soldered here. I put new solder on there. Reflowed everything. This one here goes there. This one is to the flyback. And I think at this point we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. I'm going to double check my cards. And by the way, guys, when I capped it, here's a little hack you can do where you could see I'm zooming in here. And I didn't show this. I did this again all off camera and stuff, but you can put this on the other side. Typically, this is a black level. It's on the inside over here, so it's really, really hard to get to while it's on. You can actually reverse it where you solder in here and then you just put it on the opposite end and then you can turn it and you can adjust it that way. So a lot of people do that. There's some cards that I've seen that were given to me. I think Jason, Arcade Jason, actually gave me a couple, and I owe him, by the way. But he gave me a couple because I was troubleshooting my K4600s in the past. They kind of just sat on the shelf. But anyway, the ones he gave me had them on the outside as well. So this one did not have it. It had it on the inside. So I moved it to the outside when I put the new one on. And I think that's it. So there's a screw here. I'm going to actually zoom out real quick. Right down here, there's a piece that I have. Kind of creates like a strain relief a little bit. There's one, and there's the other. And then this actually goes up. So I put that in the wrong spot there. Supposed to have two of them, but it only came with one. I'm only going to give it one because I'm saving mine for my chassis. I'm not going to put it on there, but it looks okay, nice. And then the ground goes in the correct spot. And then this here is Degaussing coil. We're going to kind of stick it in here, and then I believe this goes all the way over here. Should reach. Man, it's having a hard time. Why is it that? All right, let me go down then. That goes in there, and then this probably got held in by this down here. That's what it was. Okay. I'll wrap these up later. I can maybe put it in here. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll fit. We'll see. Anyway, this one goes over here, and we'll make that come in right on the board here, and it's keyed as well. Come on. Okay. There we go. It's on there nice and snug. And that's it. I think this flyback is now officially changed. So, ironically, you don't have this flyback here is not produced anymore. It's totally dead, but it is one of the easier ones to swap out because if you notice on the other flybacks, they're actually on the PCB itself and they're really a pain. So anyway, let me stop the video here and then we'll kind of get it set up to test it. If I move it that way, you could probably see it. Yeah, there it is. You see that right there? So this right here is what I'm adjusting from below. I'm just kind of going in from underneath. But that is the B+ pot. That typically is glued from factory. So if you ever change out this pot right here, which is a B+, you want to change out that as well so that you can adjust it. So I swapped it out already, And I'm just going to move my wires a little bit so I can get in there to do it. Okay, that should be it. All right, so the other thing I have here is my multimeter, and I connected it with the black lead going to here, to the chassis, and then the positive, I'm using yellow in this case, just for positive. You put it on the transistor right over here on the blue portion of it. And then you just put it there. It's just safer to clip them on, and then the other end, you basically just do what you see here, whereas you just kind of clip it to them and leave them hanging. Just make sure they don't touch when they hang. And then you set your multimeter. In this case, I set mine to DC voltage. You could set it to AC or DC, but in this case, you want to measure 127 DC, so it's not AC. So it's all set. All right, so I have everything ready to go. I'm going to power on my machine, and I'm going to see if things explode. So last time I did this and I had a bad monitor, I actually popped the fuse in my outrun, which is not what I want to do. So I really need to get a little test bench built because I really don't want to mess with games I already know that work, but this is the only option I have right now because I need to connect it to an ISO. So let me unplug this one and plug this one in. So here we go, fingers crossed, guys. Powered on, I feel static. Let's see if we have neck glow, and we're getting about 135.2. That's excellent. Here, let me turn this off here. I'm gonna double check we have neck glow. I'm just gonna shut it off for a sec. Yep, you can see it right there, neck glow. I'm pointing to it with my little pointer. So we're doing great. So it's a little high, it's 135.3. It's supposed to be 127, so I'm gonna go ahead, stick this in here. This thing is awesome, it's nice and long. So you can't possibly touch anything, it's made of plastic. I'm sticking that in there, and then let's see if I can get it going here. Here we go. So right now I'm turning it down to 127. 127, oh, I had it. It's really, really, really sensitive. It's a brand new pot on there as well. I'll take it, 127.1. So that's what it's supposed to be set to. And it looks like we're good to go. So Ian, if you're watching, Ian's the guy I got the game from. The game I won't mention yet, but I'm gonna fix his Galaxian. This is in a cocktail. We got this monitor up and running, so far. So now we got power, we got B+, I see neck glow, and I felt static on the front. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect my TPG to it. That's a test pattern generator from CraftyMech to simulate a PCB or a game that's plugged in. I'm gonna plug it in these connectors right over here, and then we can adjust everything out to make sure everything's cool, because we did cap it, so it is gonna need some adjustment. When I get the game over there as well, just because you put it on a TPG doesn't mean it's perfect. Every game is different. So when I put it over there and I actually plug it into his machine, I'm gonna have to adjust it out a little more for the colors and the width and all that stuff. So we'll do that together at a later episode. So let me go ahead, I'm gonna, it looks like it drifted a little bit to 126.6. So I'm just gonna turn it up a little bit. I'll let it warm up a little bit. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Put it down a little bit. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that, 127.3. That way, if it drifts either way, it's fine. Cool. All right, so let me go ahead, test up my TPG, and I'll hook it up actually, and then I'll just turn it around and we'll see what image it comes on here. Okay guys, so I hooked up the TPG. It took me a little while to troubleshoot because I actually put another card in there because this one, it works fine, everything's cool with it, but it's missing certain things. So if you look at this one, it's very basic. So you have this, how it goes in this way, just like that. And then you have these pins coming here. And I believe this one here is the sink. The next one is ground, and this is red, green, and blue, and they're a little separated, so I didn't have the proper connector there. So instead of messing with it and, you know, with alligator clips and all that stuff, I decided, let me just pull the card. I put a more modern one in there that has everything on there. So all you have to do is basically hook it up to these right here. It's pretty standard. It has RGB, ground, and then the sync right here, these two. So I hooked that up. I just popped it in there. It's the same card as this one here. But this one, I didn't replace any of the parts or anything. I think I capped it, and that's about it. But that one is, I know, works perfectly. So I popped that in there, did it, and I had the TPG set up, and it's all set. But his card, I'm pretty sure, works just fine. But, you know, his Galaxian board has the connectors that are actually pinned out to these. You can just plug it right in. Actually, it's right here. So, you know, for now, I'm going to leave it out. I'm going to do some tests, adjust everything, and then when I come back, I'll show you guys what I did just to kind of dial it in a little bit, because every time you cap something, you always have to dial it in or change the B+ and so on. So, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm at the front of the monitor. I purposely did not put the light over here. That way you guys can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and it's on right now with the machine. So I'm going to turn on the TPG. You see a signal. And I may have to adjust this a little bit. Let me just quickly, this is the horizontal hold. Just like a regular TV. And that's it. So the image looks pretty good. I dialed it in. And if I go through the patterns here, and by the way, I didn't degauss it or anything. I still have to do that with the wand. That's why you see a little bit of discoloration, but it's fine. And then I'm going to go to each one. So this is the pattern that you have white. You have all the colors right there. I did, by the way, I did test it with my rejuvenator. I did not need to rejuvenate it. It was all perfect. All the guns were firing properly, so I left it alone. They were all in green, so did not have to give it a shot of rejuvenation at all. So yeah, and then these colors here, and then you have primary colors. So everything looks pretty good. You can see there's some burn in here, slightly, but because it's Galaxian and it's going into a Galaxian, I'm just going to leave it alone. And what I do is when I adjust it out, when I get to the game, I adjust it to be exactly where these letters are right here, and you can't even tell it has burn in because that's the normal stuff that it has. So I'm going to go here. It's another one. Right there, there's red, green, blue, and then there we go. So there it is. So it looks really good. Test pattern generator is awesome to have. You know, I just had a little trouble with that card there, so, but it is perfectly fine. I'm gonna pop it in. It's completely capped, reflowed and everything, and I'm gonna stick this original card in there when I give it back to him so that he can plug his Galaxian straight in there and it should work. Great, so this is another success. We did a swap, so, you know, like I said, I did the majority of the work with the capping and all that off camera, and then I figured I'd show you guys this right here, which is the flyback, because I looked and I didn't see any videos on this on the flyback swap for K4600. It actually is really easy. There's no soldering or anything to do. You just kind of, well, there is sort of. You solder one pin to the neck board. But the other K7000 ones, like I've done in the past, you've seen those. You could see that I had to, you know, solder it onto the board itself. There's a whole bunch of pins, and it's kind of a pain. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, as you usually do. Hit me up on Twitter, right over here. And of course, I'm on Instagram as well, where I post pictures as well. And last but not least, we do have apparel for the channel. If you guys want to support it, you're always welcome to click on the link below. And there's t-shirts available, hats, mugs, whatever you want. It's really cool to support the channel. I really do appreciate it. So that's it for this video, guys. I guess we'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.